All right, welcome to Stampscaping 101 or the Stampscapes Lab. I have a piece of quarter page printable holographic vinyl sticker paper here. All right, and it is not a vinyl holographic paper, okay? It's a printable vinyl holographic sticker paper. Very key here when using the media combination that I'm going to be applying on here. We'll be using the Brilliance water-based pigment ink, okay? Not all water-based, not all pigment inks are water-based. Most of them are oil-based, which won't work on this type of paper. This type of paper is designed to go through your inkjet printer, and that's a water-based ink, okay? You print, it comes in 8.5 by 11 sheets, okay? So you can send it right through your inkjet printer and it'll print right on there. So we need to use a similar base for this. Now you might be able to use something like like a dye-based ink for certain types of applications. A StazOn ink could probably work on here too, but like an oil-based isn't going to dry, okay? So what we have here is I'm going to have this girl on a swing swinging across this. I don't want her to have a bunch of holographic colors showing right through her like she's a ghost or something like that. So what I'm going to be doing is this process I've come to call blocking out, okay? And it's where I go on here like this with my, again, water-based white pigment ink. And that applies to it like that. And that is like dry instantly, you can see. It has this emulsion coating. And, when you touch it down like that, it really has a fast drying process. Applying this ink on here, it does tend to get pretty blobby looking because it dries just so fast. You can see my application is not super smooth, but I will go over it a little bit and try to smooth it out just a little bit. But this is going to represent a cloud in the background, so that's what I'm usually doing. In scenic stamping, we're afforded, I don't know, kind of the excuse to do some blocking out in the background of this to represent clouds, because of course there's clouds out in nature, so it's a really good kind of vehicle for laying out kind of a more solid background or a different colored background, than holographic, okay? It covers it up like that, so it gives us kind of like it almost creates like a piece of white paper or something like that integrated in with this, super loud surface right here, okay? And when I say loud, I mean visually loud. So, I mean, if you stamp on something like this paper right here, a lot of time, unless it's a really bold image, this kind of background can really swallow up the thing that you're stamping on there, especially if it's like an outline stamp. So you put some of this down like this, and it really gives you a good opportunity to stamp out any type of image on top of here and have it stand out and not get swallowed up from this type of, visually loud, active background, okay? All right. So I'm applying this down, but I'm also kind of building it up in some areas. The more you apply of this white Brilliance ink, the more opaque the white is going to be on here. I can do a really thin application and have some of that color showing through, which looks really good, a lot of times. But maybe, I don't know, maybe on this one I'll vary it a little bit. Now I'm going for this kind of sloping kind of application. I need to hold up my stamp that I'm going to be stamping on here to reference if I've kind of applied enough of this yet. Okay. I think she's going to, I don't have everything planned out exactly, but I think she's going to go about right here. So I think I need to go out a little bit more. She's going to go right here. It's sorry, you can't really see through this really well. I'll just flip like she's going to be facing the other way, but I think right here, and I want her at a little bit of an angle. It's this girl on a swing like this. So see that? I'm going to put her roughly right here, so we need to build out the white out this way a little bit more. It's going to be like a cloud on a, I don't know, kind of like on a sunny day, you know, where there's kind of interesting formations in the sky. Or kind of lighting effects in the sky. Okay, applying some of this down here. I'm going to go in for a little bit of a thinner application, so I'm using kind of a drier, in this case, cotton ball. If I didn't mention it, 100% cotton ball. Synthetic ones don't really work very well. Or you have to really kind of work for it to apply the same amount that cotton would apply. Cotton absorbs moisture so that you have a lot of moisture in here, meaning the ink, and therefore you have a lot to transfer. The other types of synthetics, when I'm dabbing in here, it doesn't go into the cotton ball very much, I find. So it seems like it's a very soft one, but I don't know, synthetics like polyesters, like with clothes, it tends to wick moisture. It repels moisture. That's why they use it for, you know, a lot of outdoor types of clothing, you know, and cold weather clothing. All right, so I think that is looking pretty good right there. I may put a little bit up here. I'm thinking about maybe putting a quote stamp if it comes up. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So it's like a little bit of an opening in the sky. Kind of revealing the, you know, that holographic coloring in there. Okay, see that right there? You can see it right here. I kind of put that layer down, but you can see right up here, it's not nearly as opaque as right down here. Okay. Okay, so I think that is good right there. And this scene here is referencing a scene by Candy that I saw on Facebook. I said, hey, I want to do that composition. I wasn't going to do the exact same background as she did, but I like the structure of it. So it's like, okay, let's see this in a different, you know, I could do the same thing as she did or similar, but she came up with a composition. I thought, I want to do one similar to that. I've been wanting to do this kind of this swinging girl for a while. I want to do it her on like photo stamping too sometime. I think that'd be really cool. You know, just with some real clouds in the background. Okay, this is the oak branch right here. Okay, and that's what this swing is going to be connected to. Now I can stamp this branch in a dye base like a green color or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll go for a couple impressions of it on here. Not just in black, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so again, this is the Brilliance black so that it stamps on here beautifully. This is a lot of ink on here, and this is really dry at this point in time. I don't know if that one's quite dry yet, but it'll dry in a few seconds. Let me see. Let me try this in a little bit of a green tone here. Now this is a dye-based ink. I mean, I have done dye-based inks before. I don't think it'll show up in the holographic area. It might, but I know it would show up in the white area. So I'm going to put some additional branches here. I'm just stamping out a small portion of it right over here just to see if I can get a little bit of color variation in the impressions. If I had like a brilliance green, I need to get some other colors of brilliance, but I would use the brilliance green on here if I had it, okay? But there we go. Yeah, not too bad. Is that green right there? It's a little bit of it's a duller green because a lot of that dye-based ink, you can see it's a little bit darker here on just on this paper, but it's absorbing into that white pigment ink. So it's kind of mixing with it a little bit. Okay, let's see. Let's get this girl stamped out. Let's see. Now I have it where I can extend the ropes, okay, of the swing. And one of the things that I did that was wrong when I first stamped her out is I put too much pressure up in these parts right here. So if you do that, you know, that the ends of the ropes might kind of get smashed a little bit or a lot, and you don't want that. So you want to, when I stamp this out, I'm going to put the pressure down here in this area and not up on those end points like that, okay? It's not like precarious or anything like that, but you just kind of, I put my finger typically on top of it like this. And I go like this, even pressure, but I just don't press in these areas, okay? The pressure that I'm applying down here will extend to up there. But this is one of the easiest surfaces to stamp on because the paper and that emulsion on the printable vinyl really grabs the ink really fast. And again, it like dries really quickly too. Okay, now I'm gonna put some additional grassy leaves in here. Let's see. Well, we'll just go with the same color here. I'm just gonna go with a little bit of a darker green, but let's go with this one right now. All right, so we have that little foundation right here. Creates a little bit of connection up with the area up top, and then we'll go with the black again. Now I'm not trying to stamp exactly over those same impressions or anything like that, but you kind of do it off center. And watch this, I'm stamping it like that. And then I'll do this. I'll kind of, with each impression, I'm kind of angling it slightly differently, like this. Okay. I think I want something else here now that I'm looking at this. I want a little bit of another piece of this branch right here, or any of the leaves off the oak branch. I'm going to bring this down in here just to give this a little bit more depth by putting that black in front of some of that green, okay? I'm not trying to put it right over the top of it and cover it up completely, but just getting a little bit of extra dimension where it's dark, close, and lighter, farther away like that. But look at that, those colors like that. It's one of those things where we're starting off with an inherently exciting, you know, surface in holographic. You know, you got all the colors of the rainbow. It changes colors. It becomes like an interactive surface where you go like this and it, you know, whatever, the recipient of your card can kind of move it around and, you know, kind of have some fun with it like that. Okay, now let me go get a pen and let's extend these ropes right up to that branch up there. Okay, I just have a straight edge right here, triangle, and I'm going to go right to this one right here. And I'm going to make sure I'm kind of lined up. It's just a a gel pen right here, black gel pen. And see that? How you can kind of extend that line up like that. And I'll go like this. Sorry if my head just got in the way. As I draw into, this is ballpoint, so as I draw into some of that white pigment ink, it might clog up a little bit, just get it flowing again like that. Or you can use whatever pen, kind of a, you know, fine point, of course. Okay, let's see. Now, one of the best things for me about this type of combination with the white brilliance ink and the printable holographic cardstock is that where you put that white pigment ink, you go in here and add color right over the top of the white pigment ink. You have to have some kind of soft colored pencils, okay? Some colored pencils might be a little bit too hard for it, and you'll find that it's not really transferring on here very well. I'm using Prismacolors, and they work pretty good on this. So I'm going to go in and add a little bit of coloring to this girl right here. As I'm doing this, I'm noticing I'm kind of pulling in a little bit of that black ink that I just stamped out. It's not too bad. It actually kind of adds to the toning of it a little bit. Now I can't go in and do a lot of blending with colored pencils like you would be able to on a piece of matte colored, matte paper or something like that has a lot of tooth to it, but I can get a little bit of like a little bit of a blend on there. Okay, and let's give her dress. Let's give her a nice, like a purple, pinkish dress. It's all kind of in silhouette right here, but there are some lighter parts of that dress, okay? So I'll give it a little bit of, and also if you didn't get like a perfectly even, application of ink, you can go in and just fill it in with some extra colored pencil or markers or whatever you want. And maybe she has some golden hair or something like that. I don't know, just trying to pick out a color that might stand out a little bit against that background. Okay, I'm going to grab a black one here too. You can see it's a little bit kind of blotchy. So I'll just go in and kind of, I don't know, kind of give it a little bit more depth. Maybe this makes it a little bit darker in some areas. And maybe not do the whole thing, but maybe on like the side of it or something, her, on the back of her hair like this. Maybe she's, the lighting is casting a little bit of shadow, so I can go and add in a little bit of extra tone on her skin or something like that. So she seems a little bit more dimensional now. Okay, so this area in the background, there's a whole lot of just white, okay? I'm going to bring in a little bit of color into this area with some colored pencils, okay? And I don't have like a like a really great kind of idea of what I want to do here. Let me try to do something here. I'm going to try to experiment here a little bit. Let's do the ripped torn paper towel technique right here, okay? I'm trying to tear with a variation that doesn't look like a cloud there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of tear off a little bit like that. Kind of a little bit of a rounded form. Okay. Yeah. Let's go a little bit more like this, a little bit of a smaller kind of billow. Yeah, something like this. I think I did it the opposite. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is kind of like the negative cloud right here if I wanted to add white to it, but what I actually need here is the more of the rounded section. Okay. I'm a slow learner. Okay, see that right there? These little billows like that. By the way, if you're interested in taking the Torn cloud training course, you can sign up for that on stampscapes.com. I'm just joking, folks. Don't look for that. Yeah, something like that. Okay. So these will be some billows right down here. Okay. We'll see if this works out or not. Okay, now I'm gonna use. I normally use a like a paper towel, but that's might be a little bit clunky. Okay, I'm gonna go in with my dye-based ink right here. Okay, just a light blue, Memento, Bahama blue, Distress ink, tumbled glass, anything like that. I'm gonna blend this out a little bit later with some colored pencils and additional white pigment ink. Okay. I don't expect this to, work great, but we'll see, I don't know. Okay, let's see if I'm have any ink on here at all. I usually don't ink color with you know, dye-based inks, but let's see if it works out a little bit. We'll see how my template, my cloud template works. Or doesn't, A blue, light blue brilliance ink would be better, of course. Okay, now you see that little form kind of starting to form in there? I think it's kind of coming around. I think I'm working too light, though, here. I need to move up into a, slightly darker color. Yeah, okay, I don't have a re-inker for my Bahama blue. I would use that one, though. But let's just go a little bit. Yeah, see, I could see that color a little bit darker here. Let's kind of blend it out a little bit and get the ink kind of, a little bit more smoothed out on here. And you kind of move it around a little bit like this. You don't have to keep this like static. You can kind of move it a little bit, all right, to get a little bit more of a kind of a moving fluid application, okay? In theory. No, it's what I do when I'm doing like a torn paper towel technique with the white pigment ink, though. Yeah, it's starting to kind of develop a little bit, isn't it? Isn't it a little bit more, I don't know, kind of visually interesting that way? It's not so kind of, yeah, it was a little blobby, like I said, but I don't know, this is pretty interesting. First time I'm doing this. Is he has clouds like that now? Yeah, looks a little bit more interesting, I think. right. Whatever. Note for future reference. All right, so here's my clouds like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into this now, and maybe I can kind of develop these clouds a little bit more by putting a little bit more. I'll put in some colored pencil in here. I'm just going really, really light though, okay? Just to vary that application. If I just went only in with colored pencil to begin with, I wouldn't have known where to put this, but now I kind of have a little bit of a reference. Like in these areas right in here. See, now it's kind of coming out a little bit more. You know, I'm kind of putting it where my paper towel was. Or maybe it's where the paper towel wasn't, you know, where I was kind of blending in around it, more specifically. All right, so you can see that. So it looks like a little bit more like cloudy formations. And here's another blue like this. This one gets a little bit darker. All right. Now, I'm going to go back in and add a little bit more white pigment ink into that. Although that, I don't know, that looks pretty soft. I know it's kind of glary right there, but you can see it like that. See those different colors up there in the sky? Okay, let's see how this goes now. I'm just going to go back in and see, I can see these, where these billows are now, so I can kind of add a little bit more pigment ink maybe on the tops of those billows. Whereas before it was just this, you know, kind of you know, this big field of just kind of white in there. And see this too, what I like doing is I like bringing in some of this light into my objects like that. You see that branch right there where some of the light is kind of, you know, hitting it, and over some of my impression back here, that green becomes a little bit more diffused. See this area right in here? Well, I don't have any white back in there. Maybe I'll just put it, kind of put it around in here. It just kind of puts a little bit of light into some of these areas. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. That was a little bit too much. So you just take your colored pencil and just correct like that, you know? Okay. Now I think, let's see here. I think I might want to use a little bit of a, or go with like a quote stamp here. If I have one that's kind of small enough. If I don't, I'm going to put some little birds in here or something like that. And let me take a look and see what we have for this kind of open area. There's some different birds in the background. I was even thinking they like migrating birds or something like that might be kind of interesting. Let me take a look. Okay, I think I came up with an interesting idea. I was thinking about a quote, but it didn't really fit in there. But I thought these birds, not all of them like this, but these would look kind of fascinating flying through here. It's like she's up in the clouds almost like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a few of them here and there. Let's see how I'm going to do this. I can use a black pen, but I think we're just going to go with the black Brilliance ink right here. So I'm going to put some of these birds right over here. And then we'll put some others in the background too. So it's like this girl is like on her swing set, and it's like this, these birds are kind of flying by. I kind of designed this to be used in its entirety, but just like any of the other Stampscapes designs, I kind of think about stamp designs being used just for portions of them. So I've kind of made them thicker, and I have like these really small ones in here as well. Okay, and I'll have these ones right here in the back. That. And then we have migrating birds right here, the smaller one. And I think I'll do... I'm going to go with these small ones right down here. Or I don't know, they're all small in this one, but I'll do the lower ones, that is. I'd say I over-inked there. I inked some ones that I didn't want inked, I think. And I'm going to just wipe it off with some water just to remove all the ink. So it's going for like these other ones right down here. I'll put some of these right up here. And then we'll go for some other ones right up top here, I think. Clean off. All right, so it's like right in here. Just like that. Now I might add a quote stamp. I'm going to format this paper. I'm going to mount it on something, and I might put a little word stamp here, you know, like right up here. But let's take a look at this. So these birds are pretty much dry, and but let's see, we can put them in a little bit of a... Let me try this right here. Not with this one. That was the blue one. I'm going to put a little bit of pigment ink on this right here. Dab off a little bit. And I'm going to put a little bit of pigment ink on a couple of these birds. Just so that they're kind of a little bit varied in terms of tone. You know, it's a little bit lighter and darker. So it kind of does a push-pull type of effect. Distance-wise, it kind of, the lighter ones seem like they're a little bit farther, or just the light's hitting them a little bit differently. It's a subtle little thing. I don't know. It doesn't make that big of a difference, but I don't know. I like to experiment around, see how it looks. Let's do something too. Let's do a little bit of highlights on some of the objects in here. We have a acrylic white paint pen. Acrylic is water-based too, so it works really fantastic on here. as I put it over some of this white pigment ink, sometimes some of that white pigment ink, it is really affixed down there pretty well. But this is like a plastic little nib on here, so you can get some of that pigment ink up in that nib a little bit. But again, you just kind of scribble it off like that. And I put a couple little highlights on some of these reeds right here. Just so that it looks like they're kind of capturing some of the light. Maybe there's like a little bit of dew on a couple of these grasses. And maybe this branch could be getting a little bit bottom lit or something like that. It's just a little bit of a, like a sparkly little detail on here. Adds a little bit of shimmer to it. All right, this is really glary. I'm sorry about that, but this is how this card kind of looks a little bit, you know, more with all that glare like that. So like this, and you get all those different colors like that. It makes for a really great show for our child there. And you can see those white pigmenting, acrylic paint highlights on those clouds, and hopefully down in those reeds a little bit. Okay, let me get this formatted and let's take a look and see what we have. All right, we have our finished card here. My standard kind of razor thin white border, and then bordered around with something else. In this case, it's just some glossy dark cardstock. And then I like this dream here. I just did it in the same type of border around here, you know, with that same color. Put it up there in the upper right. I thought that looked best right there. I see she's kind of looking out towards that area. And then, yeah, I don't know, that's it. It's a pretty simple card. I kind of learned some new, I don't know, technique right here with these clouds with the additional, you know, whatever, torn paper towel cloud, you know, masking technique within the Brilliance white pigment ink, whatever technique that was just born today. Kind of, I put some tone, I think, you know, in the clouds before, but just a little bit of a like colored pencil, I think, in the past. But anyways, here's these colors right here. Look at these colors like that. Look how exciting that can be running through there like that. And down here, we've tamed that type of really kind of loud paper where you can, you know, it's mellow in here, and coupled with the metallic, you know, ever-changing color holographic in there. So I think it's a pretty good combination. I don't know if you can tell, but you can see some of that color showing through a little bit down here, but it's muted, so you don't have to do a complete opaque kind of cover-up of the background. But again, see, if I just stamped her directly over that, you'd have all those colors running through her shoulders and everything like that. So, you know, having a little bit of this tone in the background really helps. And in this context, though, I'm sure there's other types of things you can do. You can cut her, you know, you can stamp her out on a piece of sticker paper. You can stamp it out like on a holographic like that, but then stamp her out again on a piece of sticker paper and just cut her out. You don't have to cut the lines or anything like that. And then you can stick her right over the top of that. You know, and that would probably make a pretty cool type of application as well. And you can color, you know, the sticker paper body, you know, without doing all this background in here. But that's just one way to do it on the holographic. If you're doing a cutout too, you don't need to be the printable holographic vinyl either. All right, anyways, thanks so much for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed the card. And thanks as always for tuning into the Stampscapes channel.